Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. Today, we're doing food truck stuff. More accurately, this is going to be a very long video. We've got all kinds of different stuff involved over the last several days of getting stuff done on the jerk truck. In previous videos, you saw what was wrong with it. Pull the motor out of it, machine the motor, put the motor back together. Now it's time to put this thing back together again and get it to finally start. Get this thing basically ready to get out of our bay so we can move on to things that are slightly more interesting and exciting than this big old sucker. Thank you very much to everybody, first off, for all of the orders and everything that you guys have been putting through for shirts and hoodies. We really appreciate that. The pre-orders have been sent in. Gina Rose is getting all that stuff made, and as soon as we get that stuff in our hands, we will get it shipped out to you guys. I've got all those orders just sitting there waiting to be fulfilled. We just put the order in with Gina, so she's going to make all that stuff happen, and then we get that stuff, and then we send it to you. So that's the situation on that stuff. Anyways, time to get back to work. Whole lot of things to get done on this sucker. Enjoy.
Well, it's engine drop day. Not drop literally, but engine reinstall day. See how this goes. Hopefully it doesn't go in with a loud kaboom. Needed to be hooked up differently than that. I knew better than that. Gotta make some adjustments. See if that works any better. Gives me a little more room. Might need to get it even higher than that, but let's give it a shot. Ooh, that's a little aggressive. Ouch. New block heater came in. Slippery little sucker. My block heater came in today, so I figured it'd be easier to put it in out here than in the truck. Oh, let's see if the third time's a charm on this. Well, the motor mounts were built backwards, so I fixed that. Or even though they're for this, they're not for this. But my block heater came in, so I tried putting in the new block heater, and it didn't fit, so I ended up putting the old block heater back in. And I'll see if I can find another new one that's the right diameter, but it's frustrating. Yep. Nothing but wrong parts this week, apparently. Starting out the week with a bang. Oh well, we'll get through it. I always do. Well, I gave myself a case of the Mondays. I was having problems getting the engine to align up in the engine mounts, and as it turns out, it was self-induced. I ordered the incorrect engine mounts. We pulled them out, did some changes to them, and I'm like, all right, I'm beating my head against the wall with this thing, so I walked away from it, came back to it, went and looked at my order for the engine mounts, and sure enough, they're for not a G-van, but They're for like the Savannah van, and the P chassis is a different van. So I have the correct engine mounts coming tomorrow. We'll switch those out. And then we'll continue moving forward with this project. I have the harness mostly on. I have the engine mostly built. I found out my coolant temp sensor I ordered for it is incorrect because the connector is different. We can plumb our new heater hoses. And I'm probably going to find my alternator sitting over there on the floor, but it has the wrong pulley, so I'm going to switch the pulley over from the old alternator onto the new alternator. That way we have a new charging component. We can get our power steering mounted up, all that stuff tomorrow. Pretty much the engine should be fully assembled by the end of the day tomorrow in its correct motor mounts. And transmission's bolted up, torque converter's on. I can probably pick up some new bolts for the floor because I had to grind new slots in some of those for the access panel. So moving along, we got a radiator showing up for it, upper and lower hoses. We still have to do brakes and leaf springs and U-bolts on it. But you know, eating this elephant one bite at a time. I gotta walk away from this thing though. I'm tired and sore. Fighting with stuff is never fun, but sometimes it's self-induced. Just like in this case. But that's alright. We'll get back to it tomorrow.
How long did you say?
52 and a half.
52 and a half, alright.
You want to write it? You want me to text that to you?
No, I was flying, then I confused myself.
And then you thought about it too
I've
much?
got like 4 different stops to make, so I was like, okay, I gotta go.
Hey, the motor mounts line up a lot better when you buy the right ones.
Oh, amazing how that works.
Amazing how that works, yeah. Totally my fault.
Weird. Freaking parts guy.
Parts guy screwed me on that one. Oh wait, I'm the parts guy. Oh well.
51 and a half?
52 and a half.
52 and a half?
I'm just gonna text it to you. Measure it again. So I was hooking the engine up and found this throttle cable was really stiff and realized that it has a frayed line, so needless to say, ouch, she's done. I was able to find a new one, which is good because that needs to be smooth. People die because of that stuff. Have a throttle stuck wide open. Ah! Let's get that put in there. Put a little dab of grease in here too. We've got the rear brakes apart. We're freshening up the rear brakes, new wheel cylinders, shoes, axle seals, and I'm getting ready to press the lug studs out of the drums so we can switch those over. The drums that are on here look to be original. So, you know, 250,000 miles. Hauling Frito-Lays. I think a new set of drums are in order. But that makes everything in the rear axle taken care of so that we can not have to worry about that for hopefully like 100,000 miles. Bleed the brakes and put 4 new tires across the back because they are from 2004. So 20-year-old tires aren't going to cut it for reliability. Perfect. Perfect-ish. Yikes. Over there. Oh, there it is. Oh, do that 7 more times. We'll be done with this one. It's not flashy work, but it's got to be done. All right, let's knock this hub out of this drum. Oh, that came off easy. I'm used to them sticking. We'll Put a new seal on that guy. Pack our bearings. Oh, those are heavy. These bearings were pretty dry, which means I'm going to be filling the differential up and making sure we have full fluid. Both wheels spun nice and clean, didn't make any noise, so I shouldn't have a problem with the bearings. I'm going to use my holding fixture to hold this while I pop the seal out. Got it. That was easy. Let's do the other one. Get my seal out. I'm going to go ahead and put some grease in on this bearing. Ooh, my nose is running. Actually pretty well lubed up, but I just like to make sure I have plenty of grease on these until they get flooded. I've actually started putting some fresh oil in the hub when I set it up onto the axle as well, just to make sure. And it seems to work pretty good. Grab my Tinkin seal. Probably not made in America anymore. These used to be built in Canton, Ohio. I don't even say where they're made now. Taiwan. Made in Taiwan. This Sterling rear axle, which is pretty much unique to the P chassis, which are the RVs and the bread trucks and that kind of stuff. It's a nice big full floater. Works pretty good. Does the job it's supposed to. You can install these seals incorrectly. You want the lip of the seal to be facing in towards the oil. Ring around the hub. Alright, let's put our drum onto our hub. So right back over to the press. I take the old drum and I use it as a press bed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting tired. This is a young man's game. Oh, wait. I've got a big pin. I use this as a punch and a seal driver. I use this as all sorts of stuff. It's actually just a kingpin out of a, I think it was out of an International, like 4700 or 4600 that I worked on years ago. And when I did the kingpins, I was like, man, that's a great punch. So I kept it. and I've been using this for at least 10 or 15 years as a driver and whatnot. I don't know. It works pretty good. It does the job. Works really great in situations like this because it's not going to give up. One down, 7 to go. This is a little boring. I'm actually tired because I've already done the other one. I needed to let the battery charge up on the camera there for a little bit. So I made a mark on the press right here so I know how far to go up each time. It reduces me having to crank it all the way back down again. Pick that up again. It's heavy. There we go. That'll work. Last one. Let's get our drum out of here. Oh, it's heavier. Looks like a pretty good set of tires. I'll balance that out. So I came in today to do this fresh because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. So 4 tires mounted, balanced, those drums switched out, mounted. I'm getting ready to sling that last drum up in there. It's heavy work. Big thanks to Jeff for yesterday doing the backing plates. We basically pulled the backing plates off. New hard lines, new wheel cylinders, new shoes, new hardware kits. That way everything in these wheels is done. It should be good for the next 100K. Do it all at once and just be done with it. So I'm going to go drop a little oil into the hub and sling that thing up on there. I'll set my bearing. The axle bearings are basically, you make sure that it's seated correctly, and it's 50 foot-pounds, then back it off 1/8 of a turn. Then you install your lock ring. It's a pretty simple process. I'll show you how we do it. It's not too bad. Boy, the wind is kicking today. It'll blow me doors off. Oh, so I'm going to go ahead and drop some gear oil into the center of the hub. You only have to mess up one rear axle to be way overly cautious about making sure that these outers get lubed correctly. I watched a guy do it at the dealership. He did axle bearings on an F350 crew cab, and when he went to leave, he didn't go out and do any figure eights, but he just went out, and it's like a mile to the freeway. Hopped on the freeway, running down the freeway, and both rear axles just seized. It was really bad. So now I gotta sling this thing up onto this axle under here. So I like to Scotch-Brite my seal surface off, just to make sure I've got a nice spot for my seal to ride. And that looks pretty good. I do bearing surfaces as well, just to check for any burrs. These spindles look really good. Haven't had anything too hateful done to them in their time. This thing definitely needs a new set of leaf springs. Alright, here's a big heave-ho. My last big heave-ho for today. After this, it's a throttle cable. And probably fix the brake lines down here on the axle. That way I can go ahead and bleed these brakes. Whew, I'm feeling it. Oh, what did I stick my foot in? Oh, I stuck it in a gear grease that came out of that front hub, or that rear hub. Clean that up. The hard part's done. So now, working in a dungeon. I don't have anything good to set this on. Yeah, it kind of makes it better for you. Axle nut, you can only put that on one way. Well, you're only supposed to put it on one way. Somebody's probably put it on wrong. But I like to use the tool. The specification is 50 foot-pounds while the hub is rotating. Okay. And then back it off 1/8 of a turn. Which in this case, it's not going to quite be 1/8 of a turn, because my lock pin would not line up. So basically I'm just going to back it off to the first slot that allow me to install my lock pin, which is just a piece of square cut steel. Then I put my pin retainer on. that's the end of that. So now I'll clean off my hub flange and my axle shaft. We will install our axle shaft, and we will be ready to rock and roll. Well, that's a step in the right direction. It's running. It's moving under its own power. Unfortunately, the brand new, the small oil fuel return lines on the injectors are leaking, so I have another set of those coming from a different supplier because the ones I bought originally failed miserably basically after 5 minutes of running. So that's allowing air back into my fuel system, which is making it not run correctly. So new fuel return lines will be here in a couple days. I also ordered a throttle cable because the throttle cable's binding. It's frayed internally, and that can cause a stuck throttle, which nobody wants to have happen. Be like those Teslas going through China, running into stuff. We got oil cooler lines are ordered. They should be here probably the same time the throttle cable comes in. And then I can hang my oil cooler over here, which I'm going to go ahead and hang. That way it's done and ready for lines. And and then we're going to do rear brakes and rear tires, because the rear tires are from 2004 according to their date code. So 4 tires, rear shoes, hardware, wheel cylinders, and axle seals. That way we don't have to take the back apart again, because when I popped the brake cap off of the master cylinder, there was no fluid for the rear circuit. So we're going to fix that, and then hopefully we can move this thing out of here. So that's where we stand with the bread truck. It's together. I rebuilt all that stuff, which was a big pain in the rumsky, but it needed done so that this can be a reliable vehicle for this fella. He's going to go sell food to people, and it's probably going to be delightful. So with that, click like, subscribe, and leave us a comment below. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We will probably do a video of this when it's all done. I don't know what we're going to do with it next, because I'm just down to like the tedious nitpicky stuff that takes forever to do. It's that 80-20, you know, the first 80% is real easy to do. The last 20% of it is the perpetual, endless, mind-numbing stuff that seems like it takes forever. And it is. I'm tired of working on this truck. I want to work on other things. At any rate, you guys have a safe day. We'll see you soon.